Welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan,
And I'm Meg.
and today we're back with Dr. Stone, and we're covering episode 30, Prison Break.
Yes, and this is season 2, episode 6. Sorry, just checking in my notes.
Yep.
Um, and the summary for this episode, Chrome tries to use his knowledge of science to escape from his prison, but he just doesn't have the tools. Yo, a former cop who had been revived into Tsukusa's army, tries to work up the ranks.
That's a halfway decent
Yeah,
description.
very straightforward.
Yes, I think I would have changed it to Chrome tries to use his knowledge of science to escape from his prison, but he faces opposition from Yo, a former cop who had been revived into Tsukusa's army. Like I would have like incorporated Yo into Chrome's plight.
Mhm.
But anyway, this covers manga chapter 71, Prison Break, and 72, Experience Points. There's such a
Nice.
video game theme in this show.
hmm yeah, we don't have anything extra at the top of the episode, so let's get into it. Yeah, Senku has what he calls a simple plan to save Chrome, which basically just involves ramming their steam gorilla into the prison and rescuing Chrome. And that's about it. But Tsukasa is anticipating this, as we already saw in the last episode, and he's made some pits so that their steam engine will get stuck. And while he's talking about his plan, he asks, well, we meet a new character. Um, he looks very tough. Um, and his name is Yo. Tsukasa asks him to oversee the prison. And while this is happening, Chrome is trying to think of a way to break out of his prison. And he's not having any luck. And I enjoyed this because he like did the little Senku pose and like trying to think of good ideas.
Yeah.
You know what? That kind of reminds me of
Hmm.
Gojo's domain expansion.
Yeah, I can cross the
Like,
fingers.
yeah, except the crossing of the fingers. So I think, wait, actually, Dr. Stone came first, right? I don't actually
Yeah.
know.
No, I'm
I
pretty
think
sure he
so.
did. Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
But anyway, yeah, it's sweet because Chrome's he's really trying, like he's desperate to get away to break out of prison by himself so his friends don't have to go to the trouble. And in the manga, he's getting frustrated and he says, Senku cooks up ideas in his head from nothing. But that ain't me. I can't measure up in that sense. So he's like he's really putting the pressure on himself.
Yeah, I think he especially feels the pressure because Tsukasa has laid all of these traps. And so he's like, I gotta get out before my buddies come and rescue me and get into trouble,
Yeah.
which is a lot of pressure. Um, but yeah, he just like doesn't have anything with him to get the job done. And then we learn about a little bit more about his guard, Yo. And we learned that in the past he was a cop, but he wasn't a very good cop. Um, he was very he had a very flawed set of morals. Um, he basically, I think the scene that they show, he like shoots a guy who was fleeing from
Yeah.
him.
In the manga, there's not like there's a lot of things in this episode that weren't in the manga. And one of those things was the scene where we see Yo shoot the person because it's set up as like he's busting like a crime that's going down, and as the two criminals are escaping, one pulls a gun and shoots at him, grazing his temple. Yo gets mad and shoots the guy. Um but in the manga, all we get is like a little flashback speech bubble thing or thought bubble saying like, yeah, I shot the bad guy. Like showing basically that he was corrupt, but not giving such exposition as this.
hmm Yeah. yeah, he was not a good cop, and he actually got kicked off the force for doing this, and especially because he well he said um
I'm here to take down the
like
bad guys, or
yeah, and it's like who cares if I shot him? He was a bad guy or whatever. It's
yeah.
like, oh, okay, goodbye, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and we see his intentions in the Tsukasa Empire is to be on top. And so he's getting all the other guards into shape and he's not very kind to them. Um, and he also like insults Chrome and he calls him a monkey or a
Monkey boy.
yep. And I love that this Chrome had a very Edward Elric moment where he just like added a bunch of insults
You calling a
to
monkey boy bean sprout shrimp? But like, I don't know what he's
yeah, he
like
said a bunch of
bean
stuff and Yo was
sprouty.
like, I didn't say any of that stuff, but okay, buddy. Um, and after that, Chrome is like, okay, I gotta get out of here. And so he takes a bathroom break and he um collects a bunch of supplies
Okay,
out in
let's
the
talk about
wilderness.
this. Okay. Why does he shove all those things into his pants? It doesn't make sense. Like, as he's walking, he could easily fall out. And I mean, like, he's got his pants, and we see later that he's got like those shorts underneath. But we know he
Mhm.
tore out his underwear to make that flag for Ukyo, like the surrender flag. So there's not much there to hold the grass in place as he's walking. It's gonna fall down his pant legs. Why didn't he stuff it down his shirt? He's got a belt around his waist. It would have held everything in. And he could
Ye-
like make it less visible by crossing his arms over it or something.
Yeah, I don't understand
Just for the joke,
this.
I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going with that he has a secret pocket inside his pants.
In that spot.
Just for never mind.
I don't know about all
I could
y'all men folk
I
out there, but I'm assuming you don't want a pocket there.
okay, let's stop because I could say something, but I'm not
Don't.
going to.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes, and but he collects all this stuff and he brings it back and looks it over and he's like, what is love? He I remember the one line he's like being nostalgic over oh like a four-leaf clover or something, and then he's like, who cares? This is all garbage, and I was very much enjoyed his reactions. Um. And so he kind of like gives up and is like, I can't do this. And while he is sleeping, we see somebody gives him the battery. He's immediately like springs into action. He first starts a fire with it, which like goes out
It makes
like
a noise,
yeah, it makes
and
a noise, but then like goes out like immediately. And Yo is like mocking him, like, you're so dumb.
oh yeah, because
That's never gonna work.
Chrome brought sticks in before. Chrome,
Mm-hmm.
like, when they hear the noise and smell the smoke, the guards come running, and he's like, "Oh, they're gonna find out that I have a battery, because how could have I started a fire otherwise?" But Yo sees the sticks that Chrome collected on the ground, and he's like, "Oh, you primitive monkey boy, were you the science you were talking about? Was that just rubbing sticks together to make a fire?" Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I felt really bad for Chrome, but I was also very proud of him for this moment because he's like, "Oh, oh, I should play into this. I should pretend to be like really dumb." And he's like, "Yeah, did you know that if you boil down seawater, you get salt? That's science."
Yeah, he held it to he did a good job. I don't know if I would have been able to do that. I think I would have just been mad. Um, and then he decides to well, he thinks he's making sodium hydroxide, but it's actually sodium hypochlorite, which is bleach. And he does this by exercising, producing salt water, and when he gets enough, he uses the battery to like separate um the different components to
Yeah, it was a
make it.
very Katara from Avatar, The Last Airbender type of moment. But
Mm-hmm.
that must have been hard work to get that much sweat. You gotta work real hard. And I think this is the only time we ever see Chrome without his headband on. Like he took it off while he was exercising and then he used it to hide
Mm,
the battery when he slipped it into his pocket and
yeah, and I
like
think he also was like, I don't know, was he like
he
also
might have
squeezing out the sweat of it
he
on it
wrung
too?
he wrung out his clothes so he might have wrung up the headband too
Yeah.
because having worn headbands when I played basketball in middle school,
Yeah, they
I can
get
tell you those lick up a lot of sweat.
yeah, which I think that's part of their purpose, right?
Yeah, well,
Um,
sweatbands anyway. Regular
yeah,
headbands just for
I
keeping
guess
your
maybe
hair
not so
back.
much. Yeah. Yeah, I know I love when he took it off. His hair is still like straight up.
Mhm.
It's permanently in that position.
Yeah, well, they don't
Um,
have good hair care products in the stone world.
no. Yeah, I can't even imagine how like gross all their hair actually is.
Or how much Crumb smelled after that.
Uh, gross.
Ugh.
And he's already a teenage boy.
Ugh.
Um, yep, and so he makes his solution and he pours it on the ropes and they like are burned away. And he has a epic moment where he has a scientific prison break and he just like grabs the bars and just like pushes and they all break apart.
That was awesome. I think, well, there was this cool bit of narration in the manga. It was sort of spread out differently in the anime, and other characters said it, but I don't know. I just really liked that part in particular, like the narration. It says, meanwhile, Senku was using his own alkaline solution to break down cellulose and make paper, meaning it just so happened that Senku and Chrome simultaneously use the same scientific principle.
Great minds think alike.
It always comes down to those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Chrome is on the run and has taken one of the bamboo I guess
Those prison
sticks
bars.
from his
Yeah.
prison and he's like it's I was very impressed with him because I mean he's definitely more athletic than Senku, but I don't think of him as the most athletic person.
No.
But he like pole vaults over all of the traps. Um, and he's getting away, but Yo is not gonna let him get away so easily and chases him down. And then they're back at the waterfall, and Chrome's like, "This is it. I can't. Um, I can't. I'm not strong enough to fight back." Um, but then he has a couple more tricks up his sleeve. He starts coughing up blood, and he's like, "I'm sick. I've got pneumonia," and he like spits all over Yo's face and freaks
That
him
was
out.
funny.
Yeah, and then and then in an even funnier moment, he pulls out his classic move, and he gets Yo with his bamboo stick right in the nards, and
And
he
ends his
like,
family line.
yep. This one I think was a better scream than
Yes.
from Magma. It was very
He
impressive.
did a very high pitched kudos to the voice actor, but that was great.
Yeah. And then he escapes. And while he's heading back, Kohaku spots him and everyone is like so excited that he's back. And I just love Senku. He's not like freaking out like everybody else is, but you can tell that he's like so excited that his friend is back. He's just like complimenting him like crazy. Um, and he's like, wow, that was really impressive, Chrome, and you did a great job. But then Yo had hit him and he was bleeding. And Rory, of course, was like, oh, Chrome, are you hurt? And then he starts coughing up blood and everybody's freaking out. Um, Senku is just laughing because it's fake and Chrome did actually use the stuff that he collected um, and like made this solution that looked like blood.
That was funny. That Chrome is such a troll. Like everyone's
Mm.
so worried about him, and he's just like, "Psych, just kidding." Which I I never thought it was actually blood because it looked too purple when it was on
Mhm.
screen.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, maybe there was a moment in the back of my mind that was like, "What if though?" But for the most part, I was like, "Nah, it's gotta be it." Like, for one thing, if Chrome really had pneumonia, he wouldn't have kept it a secret. They have something to cure it. It wouldn't make sense for him to be all like, "Oh, I didn't want to tell the others." Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, for another thing, it's just I don't know. He didn't seem all that sickly, so that would
No.
have come out of nowhere. But yeah, I think a super important difference between the anime and manga, which when I first read it, I was kind of shocked that they changed this because I think personally it's a huge character thing, a huge character moment for Senku. But anyway, so Ruri in the anime notices Chrome's bleeding, but Senku in the manga is the first to bring it up. He spots Chrome for the first time, like he's going through the crowd and everyone's like, Chrome's back, and he lays his eyes on Chrome and has a horrified look on his face and asks, "What's with the blood?" And then that's when Chrome decides to be a little skis and like pukes up blood. And then Chrome never says like psych or anything like that. He never lets anybody know he's joking. He just lets it play out. And Senku takes a closer look at the blood and then puts two and two together and starts laughing. And then Chrome's laughing too. So it was almost like an inside joke kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah, that is actually super important. It's just like another way to show Senku cares and he's not just an emotionless robot.
And
Um,
I mean, for me, I think that's important just because the reason I like Senku is that he's not your classic smart guy tropey character. Like most
mhm.
of the smart guys in other shows are, like you said, kind of emotionless. But Senku, he knows how to laugh, he knows how to tease people, he knows how to have fun. He's smart, but he also uses slang words. It's just like kind of a refreshing take on like you can be a genius, but you don't have to be stoic or stereotypical. Kind of like Edward Elric too, like smart guy, but doesn't act uppity or snotty or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing that they changed that, but also I know why
But
they did
it's
it.
Rory.
Yeah. Yeah. But then after all that, we get a very classic forearm bump of between Senku and Chrome.
Fun
Um,
fact, that is the forearm bump into the high five that I used for our cover art for Dr. Stone.
yeah, and another fun fact. Um, I think was it last year? No, I think it was the year before. Um, for Christmas, I commissioned my sister to paint that scene, and then Megan also drew that scene, except us in place of Chrome and Senku, and she gave it to me for that same Christmas.
We were just like, oh, what a coincidence. It was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I also appreciated the bottle you painted for me, the chrome. That's bad.
Yeah, I liked doing that one. I have a half finished one of Senku. It's like painted like his ombre hair, and then I'm gonna write Get Excited on it and probably paint like
Nice.
a flask. But I,
Mm.
I have, I think I started it at the same time that I painted yours. So
You've got bigger fish to fry right now. Take
yeah,
your time.
yeah. But yeah, that was the end of the episode.
Yes, so we have some manga extras. First up, I started volume 9 of the manga. So we got the author and artist forward. So the author actually included it's like a calligraphy board and it reads, "Get excited for science in motion." And then there's a little caricature of Senku and it says, "That means an anime." And so the author says, the Jump staff had the creators write some calligraphy about their upcoming plans for the new year, like aspirations, ambitions, and so on. For this meaningless, embarrassing exercise, I gripped the brush with a trembling hand that's never really written calligraphy before and thought, why not still for the anime adaptation while I'm at it? On that note, the Dr. Stone anime starts in July of 2019. I hope you watch. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, and then the artist, he included a little picture of like a plushie Senku. And then he wrote, From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank all the fans who send in letters and gifts. I'm sorry that I can't send individual responses back. I spend my days drawing Dr. Stone and thinking about Senku's inventions and the future world he lives in. Sometimes I go on research trips, and sometimes I discuss the science, the world building, and Senku's feelings with my supervising editor. I do all that so I can pour my heart into every single drawing so that I can create more color pages, etc. I want every line of every drawing to communicate just how much love I have for the fans. There's a tale told by these drawings, a tale of gratitude and thanks. It's
Hmm.
so sweet. And then the other extra is another fighter file. So this time we've got Yo. He's got 3 stars for power, 4 stars for speed, 5 stars for technique, 1 star for range. His full name is Yo Ui. I think I looked up how to pronounce it, but I can't remember if that was right. Um, his height is 177 centimeters. Meg, if you wouldn't mind converting that for us Americans.
171,
177.
77.
While you do that, a former police officer trained in martial arts and submission techniques, master of the nightstick. Yo doesn't know the meaning of the word compromise. He prefers to play judge, jury, and executioner all by himself, crushing those he deems guilty without second thought.
Hmm.
Friendly
He
guy.
is 5'8".
Okay. He seemed a bit tall, yeah. But his his voice actor is Kyle Phillips, who you might know as Denki Kaminari from My Hero Academia, Kenichi Hiro from Disastrous Life of Psyche K, and Kai from Snow White with the red hair. I know that's not as popular of an anime, but I always have to mention it because it's awesome. Yo's name, so Yo means bright, and then Yue can mean cultivate or pit.
Interesting. Let's see. Okay, well, we don't have too much except we've kind of finished Free. Um, the last two movies have not been dubbed, and we have no idea if they're going to be dubbed. But we decided to wait a little while to see if it will
Yeah.
be.
But
Um,
if it's not, we're totally up for watching and subbed.
yeah, we're definitely gonna watch it still.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, I really loved the show. My favorite character, I think both of our, I don't know. My favorite character is Makoto. Um,
Makoto's really awesome. I would say if not Makoto, then Ikuya.
yeah, I don't know, it just, I mean, we just love sports anime, and this one's
Yeah.
definitely a good one. Um, I like when it's I think the best ones that I have watched. Okay, I watched Blue Lock and I did really enjoy it. But I've not seen season two and I've heard some some disappointing things about it. Um, but I think the best sports animes are the ones that are really focused on like team
Yeah.
and like uh teamwork and then also like the love of the sport too.
hmm
Like those two things together, I think make a good sports anime.
I will say this one was more focused on the kids' personal lives than it was on. I mean, like they had
Hmm.
a obviously they had a decent amount of swimming going on, but I feel like it was very good about being like when they were in middle school, these are the things they were dealing with. When they were in high school, these were the questions and concerns they had. And now they're in college, and that comes with a whole bunch of new things to tackle. So it was kind of like sports anime, but slice of life.
Hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I really liked seeing that side of things, and I also think they probably kind of had to do that because swimming, to be honest, is not the most interesting thing to watch. Um,
Yeah.
so they couldn't have like a play-by-play of
But
each
they
event.
animated it
Yes,
beautifully.
it looked really good. And I like saw like there's if you're a swimmer, you know that there's like specific techniques for different strokes that you do, and I definitely like saw them doing those.
Nice.
Um So they did a good job of like animating the swimming for sure.
You know what my favorite part was?
Hmm.
I love swimming and I love Haruka.
Yeah, that was so sweet. I think that was one of my favorite parts too.
I also liked when Ikia got to swim against his brother.
Yes, I really liked that as well.
A baby. You know, he's grown up.
Yeah. I also really liked when Haruka screamed.
Yeah,
He only
yeah.
did it like
Go
a
for it,
handful
man.
of times, but
Oh,
whenever he
oh,
got, I don't know, just because like he never showed any emotion. And so when he did, it was like,
that was good.
yeah.
I One more thing. I really like Reen, and whenever he feels emotion for people, he cries for people.
Mm-hmm. That was
And
so
I
sweet.
super appreciate, and he gets embarrassed, he gets flustered, he doesn't want to cry, but I think it's sweet that when other people can't express their emotions, he kind of does it for them.
Yeah, that I really liked that too. Yeah, it just if you haven't checked it out and you like Haikyuu,
Yeah.
definitely check it out.
You'll hear if you watch both of those in dub, you will hear some same voice actors from Haikyuu in free.
hmm Yeah, definitely enjoyable. We have not officially finished it, but we will someday,
Yes. And we will probably make an episode about it.
probably.
Yeah. Oh, I had a fun thing pertaining to this episode that goes along with the whole sports anime stuff. So we got to see Chrome pole vault in this episode, and that made me think, as the trackster that I am, what would each person of our main crew anyway do in track and field? I'm not going to include Taiju because I think he was on the track and field team and he did everything. So we know that. But uh well, Chrome would do pole vault. He had actually pretty good form. His run up was not what you're supposed to do for pole vault, but when he actually put the stick in the ground and thrust it up with like how he positioned his body, that looked correct. I was not a pole vaulter for very long, so both my brother and I attempted, um, and I would not say I was very good. So that ended quick. But everyone else, I think Senku would be a high jumper. He doesn't have much endurance or stamina for other things, but I think with high jump, it takes enough strategy and timing that he could bank on that rather than power to get him through. I think that Ginro could do sprinting events, and then Kinro could do mid distance because that takes a lot of diligence, and then Kohaku does distance because she's a powerhouse and can run for long periods of time. And of course, I think Magma would be a thrower.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Gen could be their coach or like get into
Yep,
the other team's heads. I don't know.
yep, I could see that. He could be their cheerleader.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what we've got for the episode. So, Megan, what was your favorite line?
mine came from Chrome. It was a moment you had mentioned previously in the
Oh,
episode.
sorry,
Like,
I never
no, no.
looked at what your line was.
That's okay. I'm glad you said it, so it makes sense now. Ah, yeah, check it out. A four-leaf clover. Rory and I used to hunt for these things like crazy. Those were good times. Who cares? And what about you, Meg?
Mine came from Senku when Chrome got back. And he's like, "Not bad at all, Chrome. You're a real science user."
Science user.
And what did we learn in this episode?
We learned to use what you can and do things your own unique way.
hmm And who pushed the story forward?
Chrome for staging his prison break.
Yeah, this is a excellent episode.
It's very fun. Nothing beats the waterfall scene, but I really well, Chrome's my favorite character, so seeing him
Mhm.
shine was just
Yeah, he's
I was
gotten a
happy.
few episodes or a few like really good moments where he's
Yeah,
been the
he comes
star.
in clutch in key moments. So
hmm
I always enjoy seeing him shine. Because
Yeah.
Senku is the real scientist, so anytime Chrome can get some good I was gonna say like PR. Um, anytime Chrome can prove his worth, it makes you go, yes, he deserves to be there next to Senku working with him.
Mm-hmm. All right. That is all we've got for this episode. We will be back next week with another episode.
See ya.
Bye.